Heads up, this video will not be discussing the Tears of the Kingdom art book leaks at all, so if you're worried about spoilers from that art book, don't worry. This video is completely spoiler free. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is an incredibly big deal to me. Call it a generic take all you want, but the original game, Breath of the Wild, is my favourite video game of all time, just barely beating out Halo 3. The original game had such a profound impact on my 14-year-old brain, and I still play it incredibly frequently even to this day because I love it so much. So, back in 2019, when I found out this game was getting a sequel, I was absolutely over the moon, and since then it has become my most anticipated piece of media of all time.
Whoa! There's a car! He gets a fucking car in a hover vehicle?
Jesus! The hype I have for this game absolutely cannot be understated. It looks so good. But there has been one particular worry that's been in the back of my mind since around 2020. This game is so getting leaked, isn't it? Let me take you back to 2018, which is the first time something like this really happened from what I can remember. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is possibly the most anticipated Switch game of its time. Everything is going perfectly. Pre-orders are out the roof, everyone is incredibly hyped for this game, and then bam! The game leaks online in its entirety. And before you know it, the internet is absolutely flooded with spoilers for the single-player campaign of this game, World of Light. Prophesiah Gaming has an absolute field day spoiling everything this campaign has to offer before it's even hit store shelves. This leak absolutely blindsided the gaming industry. Stuff like this does not happen often. Even people who are used to stuff like this and pirating video games said stuff like, 2 weeks early for a game like Smash is insane for a public leak. And they're right, stuff like this should not be happening this often. Take for example Halo Infinite. You didn't see that game leak in its entirety in a completely playable state weeks before it was on store shelves. You don't see this happen for any PlayStation games. But whatever, it's fine. Letting Smash leak was a huge blunder on Nintendo's part, but this only happened once, right? Oh dear. Pretty much every Nintendo Switch game that launched in 2019 and beyond will be leaked online anywhere from a week to several weeks before its official release. If you want to avoid spoilers for a game, absolutely forget it. I remember the absolute pain of avoiding Age of Calamity spoilers when that game leaked a few weeks ahead of its release, although in hindsight, I probably should have just looked up the leaks and saved myself the money. Mario Party Superstars, leaked. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, leaked. Metroid Dread, you guessed it, leaked. Nintendo this generation has had a huge problem with every single one of their first-party games leaking weeks ahead of its official release. It's a problem that's indiscriminate to their first-party games. Whether you're the most obscure Nintendo game or the most popular, you will get leaked. And yes, that will apply to Tears of the Kingdom. I really don't like the fact that it will, but saying that it won't would just be denying the inevitable. Tears of the Kingdom is going to leak in its entirety online from anywhere from a few days to weeks ahead of its release, which is going to make the already gargantuan task of avoiding spoilers during your first playthrough once the game releases even more harder than it would have been otherwise, because the absolute scumbags who spoil this stuff have already had a week's head start on normal players. By the time you put your game cartridge in your Switch, the final boss and final cutscene will already be uploaded in their entirety on YouTube.
Bros, you won't believe how Laser Hunters ends!
Now you might be asking what you can do personally to avoid spoilers.
Go off the grid.
Phone.
Beyond doing this, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you, you're screwed. This, along with Joy-Con drift, has probably been the biggest problem for Nintendo throughout the Switch generation, and I really hope next gen, this is not allowed to happen again. Because I don't want to have to put up with leaked versions of games when they're coming out and I want to avoid spoilers. All I want to do is buy the game, put it into my Switch OLED, and play it on release day. So how can Nintendo fix this in the next generation? How these games usually leak is some random retailer will sell the game early. From there, hackers will get the copy of the game, dump it onto their Switch, and then put it on the internet for everyone to see. The first thing I would do is be much stricter to retailers who break street dates. I don't want to be that guy who said sue them all out of business, but when you sell a game, you should usually be agreeing to not leak the game early. If you break that agreement, I feel like more should happen than just a, oh, please don't do it again, because it leads to a situation like this where games will leak time and time again. Beyond that, I honestly don't know. I would say there's more that needs to be done on the internet side of things, maybe take down websites that host the game, but I also don't want that to extend to emulation websites because I happen to like those. What can be said though is that this trend of Nintendo Switch games leaking is awful for the Switch, it's awful for release hype, it's awful for people who want to avoid spoilers, and I really think it needs to end. I wish I could give a clear-cut solution, but honestly, I really don't have one. I can throw around ideas, but this is probably a multifaceted issue, so just saying, yes, this is how you end the problem, probably would be misguided. That being said, I really hope Nintendo is working internally to stop this from happening in future. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end, everyone. Please consider leaving a like rating on it if you enjoyed it, because I am still a small channel, so stuff like liking this video and commenting on it really helps. That's all from me, so I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye for now.